Alright, third attempt on this stupid memory card to record this battle. Kinda getting sick of the whole memory card dying in the middle of a thing, but whatever. This is the battle between my Spikes team and InfinityEdge's team that we had in the first video. Without further ado, here it goes. Alright, InfinityEdge and I, again, we're roommates, so you're going to see a lot of battles between us here on my channel. He's going to start off by leading Ninetales. I was hoping to get some damage, some early spikes in on Fortress. Of course, that's not going to work whatsoever with Ninetales on the field. So I immediately switch up to my Charizard to absorb the Fire-type attack, which I predicted he uses the Fire Blast. Comes in, winds up dealing my Zard more damage than I thought it would. But that's okay, because I know I can survive another one, and, of course, since it's Fire Blast, or since he's Life Orb, he's going to take a little bit of damage on it. I've got leftovers, so I'm okay with taking that early damage. He's going to bring his Ninetales back in, brings it home, goes with his Configurius again. I've got the Earthquake coming out. Of course, Earthquake's not going to do much against the Ghost type here. Ghost type's got decent defense. Don't know why I taught it to Charizard, but I did. Charizard going to gain more hit points back off that leftovers. Configurius has his own leftovers. Now I decide to go for the complete mistake. I'm going to call Charizard home. And I'm going to send Fortress back in. So now, InfinityEdge and I have this chicken game of Calm Mind versus Entry Hazards. Configurius with the Calm Mind. We go to the next turn. Get little hit points off them leftovers. I try to set the rocks up, and really that should have been all I did. Set up rocks, switch out. But I'm a greedy individual, so he's going to get to go for more Calm Minds. Getting to that next turn. Of course, he's gaining life off them leftovers. Like I said, I'm greedy. I go for spikes in addition to my rocks. Get the total duo of entry hazards. Surprisingly enough, I decide not to go for another layer. So Configurator is pretty tough at this point. It's already had a few Calm Minds. And it's going to get one more freebie because I'm switching out at this point. Gonna bring in Gengar. Because at this point, I'm hoping that my Gengar is at least strong enough to give it a severe dent. He gets another Calm Mind. And at this point, I'm in a lot of trouble. Because there's not much that this Gengar can do, even with the super effective Stab Shadow Ball. It's only going to deal a moderate amount of damage against Configurius. Configurius is going to go for the Shadow Ball. It's going to Ochko my Gengar. And that meter's going way too fast. It's definitely not sturdy. Ghost Dad goes down like a sack of potatoes. That might be my catchphrase. I might try to say that once every battle. So, Configurius is still gaining life off them leftovers, hasn't taken much. I bring out the all-star ace in the whole bird, Archeops. He's my homeboy, going for the Flying Gym Acrobatics trick. Flying Gym goes off to 4 Acrobatics. Acrobatics, those that don't know, 55 power move. Yeah, because I have some people on here that haven't played Black and White. What Flying Gym does is before the attack hits, it gives you 1.5 times power on a flying type. Acrobatics deals double damage if you don't have a held item. So you get rid of the Flying Gym to boost the double power on the Acrobatics, and it just winds up dealing a ton of damage. Alright, he got a Will-O-Wisp out on the Archeops. That's okay. He's gonna bring Configurius back into his bench, which is exactly what I wanted to have happen. Kingdra's gonna come out, and I'm gonna finally reap some rewards off all them spikes I laid down. Them spikes and them rocks, rather. Archeops gonna go for the Acrobatics, and you can see it here. Even with a burn, it's gonna deal a good amount of damage because, again, at this point, it's 110 stab power attack. I go for the Dragon Claw, hoping it'll deal enough. It deals more damage than what the acrobatics would have dealt. Unfortunately, it's not enough in this situation. Archeops is going to take a huge pile of damage off the Ice Beam. Quad effective against it. Again, I don't care. Archeops got in and it did its job. And that job was to get rid of a quad Calm Mind on Confagrius. I decided to go in, bring out Rusty, my Steelix. Evan's going to withdraw his Kingdra and try to use it as, like a move blocker later on in the match. He's going to switch to Torterra. Little does he know that I have a secret weapon installed on my Steelix. So after he takes the spike damage, I get the Dragon Tail off. This move deals it a decent amount of damage and forces a switch. Which means Ninetales comes back onto the field, takes a ton of rock damage, takes a decent amount of spike damage, and sets it right in the zone for me to wail on it with Steelix. For some strange ass reason, I chose not to put Earthquake on this Steelix. I can't tell you why. If I knew, I would let you. I would be telling you now. I thought it's Stone Edge though. Stone Edge is good. Stone Edge is good enough for the one-shot kill after dealing tons of spike damage. And we get a Ninetales out. That was a huge threat to my team. Torterra's gonna come down at this point. I'll take a little bit more damage. Alright. Steelix is not the Pokemon that I have on my team that has any real effective means of dealing with Torterra at this point with its moveset. So Torterra's gonna get a free synthesis. I'm gonna, at this point, once again, go for, I'm gonna go for a Double Edge. Didn't realize I did that at that point. Sorry, my memory card died 3 times trying to record this battle, so I've watched the first half of it like 4 times now. So we get a little bit of leftovers heal. Gaia Shell's gonna go for Earthquake. It's super effective against my Steelix, but my defense is so high on this beast, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna go for Dragon Tail, try to get a swap into something a little more favorable for Steelix to handle, and I get that Kingdra. Kingdra's already taken a ton of damage, and I wrecked the entire plan of it being switch fodder. So, at that point, I'm doing pretty good on the Steelix. He's gonna feel a little bit more hit points. And yeah, doing good on that. So, he's gonna bring Lucario out. Lucario taking a little bit of damage off those spikes and those stones. I know that he's gonna try to close combat to knock Steelix out in one blow, so I bring out Charizard. Lucario does go for the close combat. It's not going to be enough to do anything bad to Charizard. It goes into the yellow, but that's okay, because Lucario's defenses fell, and I've got Air Slash. So, we watch the effects of some stone damage. Charizard's going to gain a little hit points off the leftovers, because we're a leftovers-friendly roommate pair. Lucario comes back like I should have expected. He sends out Confagrius again. It comes down. I think that I'm going to knock it out with entry hazard damage, but I don't, which is sad. I go for the Dragon Tail. I was trying to knock the Lucario back into the box while dealing it some damage, but I wind up knocking Confagrius out with Dragon Tail, switching my ability to Mummy. It means I no longer have my fire enhancing ability that I've got on there. He brings out Haxosaurus. Haxosaurus taking a good spot of damage now. I debate a little bit over what to do. It goes for the Outrage. And at that point, Charizard wound up taking enough damage for that to knock it out. But I get rid of his ability because I took on Mummy from Confagrius. So that's going to come into play because Haxorus no longer has the benefit of his ability. And if I know InfinityEdge, I know that he loves his abilities. So I come back with Steelix. Haxorus goes with Outrage again. It's going to wind up being not very effective. I go for Dragon Tail to get super effective damage. Deals a decent chunk to Haxorus. My ability becomes Mummy. And we get the free switch. And it winds up being his friggin' Torterra again. Granted, that's probably about the best thing for me to have to fight at this point. And I've managed to spike it down into the yellow. So, I'm doing good on that end. He gained some hit points on his leftovers. I gained some hit points on my leftovers. Gaia goes in for the Earthquake. And this time it's going to be enough damage. It's going to knock out my Steelix. Rusty, traded to me from that wonderful gym leader in Johto, Janine. Or Jazzy. Whichever one, the steel one. Time for Bisharp to come into the fold. Bisharp's a full healthy Pokemon. Gonna go for Swords Dance. Alright, so I've got my attack sharply on. It's gonna get a Synthesis off. That's okay. I don't mind. Because I've got a super speedy, double attack Bisharp on my end of the field. Zero's gonna go in, try to use Iron Head, punches it in the face, and it winds up dealing over half. A nice little amount of damage from Zero. He gets seated. That's not great for me, but again, worse things have happened. So, I'm sitting here on Zero. Of course, he's gonna gain life off the leftovers, he's gonna gain life off the Leech Seed. You know, that's kind of harmful to my strategy of killing him, but I wind up going for the next Iron Head, and it takes out Torterra, so we don't have to worry about Torterra being such a beast anymore. Evan comes back with Haxorus, and it turns out at this point that Haxorus takes enough damage off the spikes and everything else that it's going to be hurting. Although it does win the speed race against Zero, winds up taking him into the red. It's okay though, because I've got the Night Slash. I take out Haxorus. I'm happy because I got the Dragon down. Just one small problem. Lucario's still up. Lucario comes down, takes his last bit of damage off the spikes and off the rocks. Rocks him first, never mind. Lucario wins the speed tie, goes to close combat. And I'm down. We come down to our worst case scenario, which by the way, common team building that I've learned now has taught me not to have 3 steel types on one team, because at this point, yeah, he loses some hit points because he's a life orb, Lucario. The only Pokemon I have left is my Steel Bug. This is the turning point in the match because Infinity forgot what Heal Pulse did, which lets me get a free shot off on Lucario, taking him next to dead. And I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, his only choice at this moment is to try to Dark Pulse and flinch me this turn, because my ability is sturdy. If he tried to go for the close combat, I would be up at 1 hit point. Lucario loses the last bit of hit points that I need him to lose off that Life Orb, and I'm going to Gyro Ball for the win. So, technically, I won because of an error, but, you know, that's a huge part of it, is sometimes there are mistakes, and I know I've certainly made my share of bad mistakes, but, you know, I think if it weren't for that Heal Pulse, you know, things could have turned out quite differently. Anyway, it was a good fight, and, you know, he made a mistake on that move. If it hadn't been for that, I would have easily lost this battle, but I gotta take the wins that I get and be proud of them. I was happy with my team. You know, this team, as you can see it now, this battle happened quite a while ago. I've made so many changes to this team. Archeops was off the team. Bisharp is off the team. Charizard's off the team. So, you know, changes.